What's going on, everybody? Welcome to Popcorn Punchups, the only podcast you need for all your movie conflicting reviews. Always went into the old intro. I don't know what's happening lately.
It's
I'm
fun.
all over the place. It's not.
It's not? Okay, fuck you then.
Yep. Nope. Whoa. All right. Demonetized within the first minute. Sweet.
Hate speech.
Yeah, we'll get into that. We'll get into that soon. But we are on punishment week this week. Lawson ended up winning the Art House Man, the one that's been scouring the forums trying to look up the best rated things for each week to be able to pick it, just because I can't lose. And that's why he breaks all his bones in his bodies when we play sport together, because he rages.
Yeah,
and
that's what happens.
Like
I care so much about winning that I didn't pick movies that I would actually like. I just picked movies that would win.
Correct.
Yeah.
You did. Yep. Look at you. You can't even defend yourself.
No, this is bullshit.
Ooh. Yeah, all right. Well, just going full circle. Lawson got my TikTok banned for one day because of some hate speech. We were playing Overwatch on stream, and then a Mercy, which is a character with wings. I'm not a big Overwatch player, but it was raging, and Lawson ended up raging, and then I got banned for hate speech.
I say Mercy. She's a bullshit character. Sounds like it's Mercy's fault.
Oh, I'm aware.
Ever hate speech is crazy.
Yeah. It was a crazy little 3 minutes of raging, or whatever.
Oops.
We're unbanned now. But yeah. What have you been watching this week / playing, etc.?
Same as last week. A lot of Fallout. I don't know. I've been talking to people. A lot of people I know have been watching Adolescence recently. So that's been like a pretty big topic of discussion in my social circles, I suppose.
That's fair.
But yeah, I haven't watched a lot. Besides what we are about to review, I haven't watched a lot of stuff this week.
Okay. Yeah. I'm kind of similar. I haven't really watched heaps, so I have been trying to catch up on Dragon Ball Daima, which is, I think there's only 12 episodes, which then they've made what's it called, Super Saiyan 4 canon. So, because, and also Vegeta goes Super Saiyan 3 as well, spoiler alert.
Yeah.
But if that's a spoiler, then you've been living under a rock, because that was everywhere. Yeah, like everywhere. Been playing some Assassin's Creed. Finally got a little bit of time to record episode 2 of the Permadeath run. So that is literally out now. It came out like 5 minutes ago.
All right,
so
cool.
Keen. Yep. You haven't got that one yet though, have you? You haven't got around to the old Assassin's Creed?
No, do want
That's
to.
fair. Yeah. I assume you'll catch up with those ones when we get there. Thinking of buying the first Berserker game. The anime Dark Souls-ish game. Looks really cool. You got Guts Sword from Berserker in there as well. Looks sick.
Right.
I'm keen. Yeah, might buy that today. Might stream that. Who knows?
I realised there was a Berserk game.
No, it's like the first Berserker Kazan or something or other. It's an anime-esque inspired, like the art style looks sick. And then a Souls-like. It looks really cool.
That's
surprised you haven't seen that one.
No, I haven't even. Yeah, hasn't even been on my radar.
Yeah, right. I did watch a live stream, which puts us into the movie news for this week, though. It was a Avengers Doomsday cast unveiling. So it was live streamed 2 days ago now.
Yep.
Which
you sent me, and I didn't watch.
No, I didn't think you would.
Apologies.
I was like, yeah. I was like, this is a bizarre live stream. It was literally just still images of all the cast chairs all lined up. I was like, oh, okay. And it went for hours. Like, it was insane how long it actually went for. I think it went for like almost 3 hours of this live stream, and it was popping.
Yeah,
we got the cast reveal. So Robert Downey Jr. is coming back. He is playing Doom, so he's going to be the villain in this one. So they're going to throw it all. Obviously, Pedro Pascal is coming in as Mr. Fantastic. Obviously, that's going to tie in with the the Fantastic Four film that's coming as well. We've got Lewis Pullman, which Pullman is in the Thunderbolts. So they're going to come in. People were whinging that this reveal actually threw the Thunderbolts film in like hot water or like spoilers, but it kind of didn't. I know it's like, who survived or whatever, but whatever. You got Danny Ramirez, he's coming in, so he's the new Falcon. So you saw him in the new Captain America film. Yep. I'm going to butcher this name because I always do. Simu Liu, which is Shang-Chi. So
all right,
he's coming in. Lietta Wright is coming in, so she's taking up the Black Panther mantle. So she was the one that did all the stuff in Wakanda, but the real smart one.
Can you send me a link to this as we go so I can visualize these people?
It's only the chair names. It's not the actual like people. I'm just going through the chair names.
Chair names?
Yeah, so they revealed all the chairs, like in chairs in a line.
Right.
This will make more sense.
Okay.
No, I'm just reading the names. That's okay.
Righto, keep going.
Yeah. And then we got Winston Duke. So Winston Duke is coming in. So he is... Well, Winston Duke, what was he? He is part from Wakanda, I believe, from memory. Kelsey Grammer is also in the Thunderbolts. We got David Harbour. He's in the Thunderbolts as well. Sebastian Stan, he's returning as Bucky, which is great. We got Florence Pugh, which is the pretty much new Black Widow. Joseph Quinn is part of the Fantastic Four, so he is coming in. White Russell is rumored to be what's it called? The second Captain America one. So he's going to be another new. There's going to be some timeline shifts here and there. Anthony Mackie is also coming in. Ebon Moss is the Thing, so he's coming in. Alan Cumming is going to be part of the X-Men. So we've got a little bit more X-Men coming across as well.
We get Beast.
We got Channing Tatum is coming back as Gambit.
Awful.
Rebecca Romijn. She's going to be, I believe, the Blue Mutant, which was, what was her transforming name?
Mystique?
In X-Men. Mystique, that's the one.
Okay, cool.
James Marden is coming across as well. He's also from the X-Men, I believe.
Cyclops.
Cyclops, yeah. Vanessa Kirby as the Invisible Woman.
Yep.
Tom Hiddleston, so he was going to be Loki again.
Mm-hmm.
Tion, I'm going to absolutely butcher this one. Tionchon is going to be Namor. So we get Namor on that one. Patrick Stewart is coming in and is going to be the classic X-Men.
Which is great. I'm so glad that he's doing it again.
Ian McKellen is also coming back.
Magneto.
Yeah, it's going to be cool. Hannah John Kamen, again from the Thunderbolts. Chris Hemsworth is coming back. And then Paul Rudd actually got a very tiny chair out of all of them.
I'll get it because it's Ant-Man.
Yeah, I hate Ant-Man.
I know you do.
Yeah.
I love that they got a lot of the original X-Men people. Like, Nightcrawler was only in one movie, but he's still one of the biggest standouts of the original X-Men trilogy.
Was it X-Men 2 that he was in? And then I was like, oh, well, we forgot about him. And
it's the best one.
That was it.
X-Men 2 is great.
I actually didn't mind First Class, like the prequel one.
Oh, sure. I'm talking like best of the original trilogy.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
But yeah, I think First Class is decent. Let me look up the X-Men movies because can't remember what any of them are called.
I feel like they lost their way a little bit.
Yeah.
The new ones.
I do agree.
Like,
Days of Future Past.
Oh,
I mean, Logan. Logan is fucking
was great.
astounding, but
yeah. I don't know. It's fine.
Yeah. Just don't talk about X-Men 3. X-Men 3 was fucking awful.
It's very rare that a film ever gets to a third film and it's like incredible.
It's actually good. Yeah.
Yeah.
Very rare. It's the same thing happened to Spider-Man. Like 1 was really good, 2 was amazing, and then 3 was absolute travesty. It's the exact same story with X-Men movies. I
reckon Star Wars is from memories the only one I can think of that 3 was like really good still. Besides
not the original trilogy.
Yeah.
No, the original trilogy 3 was crap.
I liked it.
Nah, nowhere near as good as the first two.
Okay. What about Revenge of the Sith?
I think Revenge of the Sith is the strongest of the trilogy.
Yeah. Well then, speaking of a really well-known IP, a game that you love, Zelda, which is confirmed that is getting a live-action film, which is going to be based on Zelda, is set for a 2027 release.
Yep.
So we haven't really got heaps of the casting or anything yet. We just know that it is set for a 2027 release yet.
You better not talk. You better not. You better not talk.
Sure, it will.
Yeah. Live action's crazy. I don't know why they didn't do an animated movie. It'd go so hard. It'd be so good. Like, imagine the art styles they could do and stuff. Like, part of what makes Zelda so magic is all the incredible art styles they accomplish.
Yeah, but I bet they give it to Illumination if they do that.
Nintendo, yeah, probably because Super Mario. Yeah, it's true. Yeah. And then it'll just look like garbage fucking 3D.
Yeah.
I don't know. I bet you fucking Jack Black is Zelda. I don't mean Link either. I mean actual Zelda.
Yeah. I did like all the AI art they did with Tom Holland playing Link. I thought that was pretty good.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I was quite impressed with that.
Look, I wouldn't be. I don't know. It really depends on the casting. It depends on who plays. I mean, all different characters. I think. I don't know. Whatever. I don't think you should talk. It depends on what story they do. I don't know if they're going to try and do a story that already exists or if they're going to extend the universe. It's crazy.
I don't know.
I'm pretty adamantly against it, but only because, I mean, years ago, I would have been super fucking excited for it. But recently, what we've been churning out of the reboots and the fucking adaptations and stuff, they've all been pretty fucking horrible. Who's making it, do we know?
Yeah. No, not yet. Not much has been released besides it sort of coming.
Okay.
But I don't know. We'll see. It's been a bit quiet on the old news front for lots of things. One thing that I do need to mention, and because this publicity team is absolutely kicking goals, they cannot do no wrong at the minute. So, Devil May Cry on Netflix is coming on April 3rd, which will be my pick for next week, regardless of...
Real soon.
Mm-hmm.
Sweet.
Real soon. They have just teamed up for a brand new trailer, which came out yesterday, it was, and a brand new song from Evanescence has been linked as well with it.
All right.
It's come across.
Didn't know that.
It's absolutely kicking goals. It's insane. So they've now done another 90s AMV style trailer for it. It's so good.
That's cool.
Yeah.
Upper Roach.
So, this one's Evanescence, like a full. They released the full song with it.
The and then one.
The previous one was Papa Roach. So good. It's so good. But Netflix kicking goals with their anime at the minute. I guess if you want to call Devil May Cry an anime or not, it's a bit more like Western style animation. There's a new one coming called Moonrise, which is a Netflix original one, but they have teamed up with Wit Studios, which Wit Studios was the animation team behind Attack on Titans.
Oh, okay. Cool.
Yeah. it looks pretty cool as well. So Netflix are kicking goals with their anime at the minute.
Yeah,
I'm pretty keen for it.
Then we got like some boring stuff like The Witcher.
Yeah, which was super generic and
yeah,
whatever. But do you know? I think we got to spend some time on our first one off the ranks because luckily no one had to pick this because it's punishment week. So timing wise, it worked out well.
Yeah.
So Dragon Ball Evolution, which is god awful, which you can watch in Australia on Disney Plus, has been dethroned as the worst rated thing ever.
Yeah.
And we now have Snow White.
Yeah.
Snow White has achieved a 1.5 rating on IMDb.
Insane.
Where I think Dragon Ball Evolution received a 2.2 or a 2, which was technically the worst rated thing ever.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's insane. So
it's also White, like it's been tanked on IMDb, but it's not that low elsewhere. Like Rotten Tomatoes is only 41, and Letterboxd is an average of 2.1. Like it's been, I mean, it's been tanked everywhere, but it's been specifically tanked in IMDb.
Yeah, on purpose, though, you reckon?
I don't know. I don't understand why people attack IMDb, but maybe it's because it's like the most used, or I mean, Rotten Tomato is. I don't know.
I don't know. So apparently on IMDb we have, I think, 222,000 reviews.
Rotten Tomato is only 230. Snow White is only. Oh no, Snow White is 83,000.
Okay.
I mean, Snow White. Letterboxd is 83,000. My bad. Sorry.
Okay.
An average of 2.12.
Okay. Interesting. So this is directed by Mark Webb, who brought us The Amazing Spider-Man 1 and 2. 1 was actually pretty good. 2 was just travesty.
I like 1, but 2 is god awful.
Yeah. Also brought us 500 Days of Summer. Trying to think of anything else that he brought us that was good. Did 1 episode of High Potential. And then...
Yeah, which is so strange.
And then just some random ass stuff from there. But, you know, Mark Webb, I was like, okay, this could go either way. There was a whole lot of publicity for it. We reacted to it a few times. Yep. The publicity was insane. They pumped it. Disney even put a post on release saying this was going to be the most incredible thing you've ever seen. Rachel Zegler, I think that's how you pronounce her last name. Mm-hmm. She did not receive any publicity training because they should not have given her a mic, because anytime she was on the mic, it was like super backlash with like so many things.
Oh, really? I didn't hear much of this. What happened?
So every time she was given the mic, she was just like going off on rants about all sorts of random things. Like it was just so bizarre.
Okay. Yeah,
like
right.
She was like, I know this people are like so about go woke, go broke at the minute, but it was like, it's not that bad. Like, I don't know what they were doing. It was just like you needed her to publicize the film rather than trying to push certain things. You just need to be like, yeah, Snow White.
Because I don't really, like, you're talking quite general. What happened? I have no idea.
Oh, she went on like, I don't need a prince, etc. I'm going to be the strong, independent Snow White sort of stuff. She was just pushing it along those lines. Like, okay, which apparently they had to go back and recast the film as well, because originally the dwarves were bandits and not actual dwarves, so they had to go back and reshoot, and that's why the dwarves became in the CGI stuff that they are.
Right, okay. Didn't know that.
And yeah, so the bandits that you see, there's a picture which is pretty common. I'll see if I can find it. But yeah, so they were meant to just be bandits. They weren't going to be dwarves, and they were going to do an uprising rather than the standard dwarves you see them. It's bizarre. The whole thing is bizarre.
Righto.
which probably makes sense why this film feels like two different films.
Yeah,
at the same time.
I think it feels like two different films because they're trying to do their own thing while being held back by the original source. That's to me why it feels like two different films, because it's clumsy. It's really clumsy.
Yeah,
but we'll get there.
I'll find this picture if you want to introduce.
Yeah,
this,
sure. So Snow White is awful. The end. 1 out of 5. It's okay. A princess joins forces with 7 dwarves to liberate her kingdom from cruel stepmother, the evil queen. We know the story. There are some changes, but we know the story. It's the fucking, what is it, 1937 or whatever it was. The first one came out. It was the first like Disney animation.
Yep. The one that saved Disney.
Yeah, it's a fucking masterpiece. The original. It's because it was fucking like a technological advancement that made it all possible, and the story's not that good. Like, I mean, it's interesting, but it's not what holds Snow White together. And then you make a live action that's soulless, and no one who's part of it cares at all about the end product, and it ends up being fucking. Anyway, I'm getting way ahead of myself. Movie starts with Snow White and her family being raised. What happens to her mum? I forget. Does she die? So then mum dies. There's this woman who's like a sorceress who marries the dad, and then dad disappears, and she takes over the kingdom, and she's the evil queen. Played by Gal Gadot, which we'll get to. What happens? So Snow White is then like sent to the dungeons, and no one ever hears from her, and she becomes like a slave. And things happen. The queen has a mirror because she's obsessed with being the most beautiful in the land, the fairest of them all. I'm rehashing a story that's fucking 90 years old, but anyway. We see like the queen tells one of her like guards, or who's like a hunter or some shit, because originally it's a hunter, but in this he seems to be like a guard or something, I don't know. And she's like, she's the fairest of them all now because the mirror said so, and I need you to go kill her. And then he can't do it, and he goes, get out of here before I change my mind, which I laughed at.
Do you know that meme of us like that kid is like, go, get out of here, scram
to the dog? Yeah. Yeah.
That's what I felt like that whole
so
scene
fair.
was.
Oh my god, that's so fair. She goes into the spooky forest. The spooky forest is spooky. She stumbles across a house. She sleeps in the house, wakes up to 7 dwarves, fucking vomit-inducing dwarves. And the dwarves argue about keeping her, kicking her out, or whatever. She's a lost puppy. And she ends up staying. Meanwhile, back at the Pentagon, fucking the queen is being evil and queen. And she finds out from the mirror that Snow White's still alive, even though it doesn't really happen that way in the original. But anyway, we'll get there. And she sends out a bunch of people to go find her and kill her. And then I fell asleep. And then I woke up to the apple scene with I look, honestly fell asleep. I'm not gonna lie. Did she turn into the old woman with the apple, or did she hire an old woman in this version?
Nah, she turned into it.
Okay,
that
good.
was her.
Okay.
Yeah.
So he gives her an apple. The apple puts her to sleep. A guy comes, not a prince, just a random bandit guy comes and gives her a kiss and wakes her up. And they go back to the land, the fucking capital, the kingdom, and they have a final showdown. And then the queen breaks the mirror, and the mirror absorbs her or some shit, and then she screams in a funny way, and then she dies, and Snow White becomes the new queen. Everyone's dressed in white, and we hear, oh, the end. I was bored. Take it away, Reimann.
It was, this was just insane. So I loved Wonder Woman. I thought Gal Gadot was absolutely incredible. Also, apparently, everybody in the community was like, "Yep, Gal Gadot is Wonder Woman." Everyone loved her, and then all of a sudden, we get this film where she plays probably the most generic, over-the-top, bad guy, if you will, like
because
ever.
Mark Webb doesn't know how to direct melodrama. Like, look at fucking Electro. Electro is awful.
But it kind of played into it. So the musical numbers for the Evil Queen were so over the top and so sort of like ridiculous that it was like, okay, your character kind of seamlessly transitions from being super over the top into these musical numbers, which is like so over the top. But because it's such a well-established IP, if you're going to then go into this super over the top bad guy, and then you've got your other characters which are already pre-established with those pre-existing IPs and those established routines and etc., like image that people have, it's not going to translate well. Like if you're going into that goofy side, which I'm assuming a few kids will giggle at, and then you go, okay, let's move on, and then there's silence for the remainder of the film. Like,
yes, well, it's also it's lost itself because the dwarves are very cartoony. The animals are very cartoony. They're waving at the camera and they've got big giant eyes, and like they're realistic CG, but they're cartoony. We've got a whole bunch of there's a whole bunch of things that happen in this that feel really cartoony, and then most of the live action characters don't. They feel like they're meant to be realistic interpretations. Like Snow White is meant to be this. She's very realistic. Like she's not over the top and melodramatic or anything. Same with like the hunter and the love interest. Oh, Hunter's pretty comedic, fucking cartoony as well. But like fucking Mark Webb, do you want everyone to be over the top and cartoony, or do you want realistic, grounded characters for a live action? You don't get fucking both, because then you get characters like Gal Gadot, who comes across absolutely fucking insane. I literally spat my food. I was eating my food watching this last night. I literally spat my food out at one point, laughing at her. And made a mess. Had to clean it up. It is insane. Her performance is insane.
It's also, they've gone for my original watching of like the original Snow White was like when she talks to the mirror, it was like, who's the fairest, like the prettiest of them all. That's how I saw it. But this one, it was more like what's inside is sort of like counting, which I was like, as an evil queen, right? If you're like, who's the fairest of them all, like what's inside that matters. You're an evil queen, like, right?
You give a fuck.
How are you ever going to win that? Like,
yeah.
I don't understand where you're coming from. Like,
it's true.
I'm assuming you were like some least reasonably clever because you've manipulated. You've got essentially Snow White's mum dead so that you can marry the king and take over. Like, you got to be at least a little bit switched on. To be able to ask the question to this mirror of who's the fairest of them all, like, you've done some bad things. How do you go,
how do you expect to be?
Fairest?
Yeah. It's not wrong.
Like, surely anybody that's, I don't know, that held the door open for someone's better than you.
Yeah.
Like, what are we doing here?
I know.
So,
like on the good point system. She's not going on the good place.
No. Also, the little bird. So you know how she like sings and stuff, and she has the little blue bird. I sent you the meme. It was a massive raven. It's like, what in the hell is happening here?
I don't think it was. When did that happen? Because the scene where she first wakes up in the forest is a little blue bird.
Yeah.
When was the raven?
There was a raven, wasn't there?
I don't know. And that picture was a vulture, but.
Whatever. Raven, vulture. But yeah. So even I sent you the picture of the bandits, so I found it. So these were the bandits that they were originally meant to be like. They're meant to be kind of.
They're the ones we did see.
Yeah, they were meant to be the original.
Oh, so originally they were the seven dwarves.
Mm-hmm.
Ah.
Yep.
Right. So then they were recast as like the bandit crew.
Yep.
The recast, or it was re-edited?
It was reshot to be able to get all the dwarves in because of the backlash from the pre-screening stuff.
Okay. Because it'd feel weird that like in the end scene where Gal Gadot's about to like stab fucking Snow White, one of them shoots her knife out of her hand with a crossbow. It felt like a really weird, powerful moment for a fucking character that has nothing to do with the story.
And they're like revolutionary. So
yeah,
I didn't mind the first half. I was like, okay, like it is what it is. Like I laughed. I thought it was just some terrible choice with acting and stuff, but I was like, okay, it is what it is.
It was at least funny.
It was like, yeah. And then the second half of the film, I'm like, what in the hell are we doing here? Like, why are we having a revolutionary? Like, what is happening? Like, are we banding together and we're like, I don't know, playing Homefront? I'm trying to think of a revolutionary movie. I just thought of the game Homefront because that reminded me of like fighting against the oppressor.
There's so many weird changes from the original. Like in the original, the hunter brings a beating deer heart to the queen and is like, yeah, I've killed her, here's her heart. And this, for a while, the queen thinks that she's dead and she goes doing her queenie things. Where in this, she literally, like, Snow White goes into the forest. She goes back to the mirror. Like, the queen goes back to the mirror in the next scene and she's like, who's the fairest of them all? And the mirror's like, hey, heads up, she's still alive. She's still the fairest. Get fucked. That's not, like, it doesn't have the same sort of tension or weight that the original has. Doesn't have that sort of like back and forth and she believes that she's safe and like there's all weird changes. And I know that, you know, they're trying to be like, oh, she doesn't need a prince to save the day and whatever else. But it's not about the prince saving the day. It's about the fact that a kiss from a prince is what wakes her up. Like there's a magic to a prince's kiss. Are they saying that this random guy, his kiss is powerful enough because he has feelings for her? Like, I don't really understand what they're trying to get at. Or if any kiss could wake her up. If a deer licked her face, would that wake her up?
True. I don't know. I always thought the original message was about like the true love sort of thing. Like it was meant to be about feelings. It's just happened to be a prince because, I don't know, it adds more weight.
I thought it was similar to like The Princess and the Frog, like a kiss from the princess will turn him back into a prince and the kiss from a prince will wake her up sort of thing. That's how I've always read it, but I could be wrong.
Yeah, I don't know.
I'm not well versed in Snow White, won't lie.
Where props are due. Rachel Kent, she can hold a tune.
Oh yeah, look, Zegler did fine. I don't dislike her in this. You know, protect her. She doesn't deserve the backlash the movie's receiving. And the fucking Waiting on a Wish, or is that what it's called? Great fucking song. That's the only one though. The rest of the songs are awful. Like every other one is like, you know those when you watch a musical sometimes, maybe you don't, but I do. When Sue's music starts, I fucking roll my eyes and go, okay, here we go again. That's how this felt. I think back to like Spirited.
Yeah. Oh yeah, that was that was a long film.
The song that the Prince did, which was like, what are the lyrics? Princess Problems. Fuck me. That song was awful. That was a particularly bad one.
Yeah. Even the dwarves annoyed me, where it was like, when they were just introducing themselves, I was like, what do you think? When grumpy, I was like, oh, come on,
yes. Mate. And they multiple times, they'll do like a thing where a character would say in their song, a character would say something, another character would go, oh, he's bashful. And then they'd all go, we know. Yeah, fucking no shit, we know. You don't need to point out which character is which dwarf for the audience. And then point out the fact that we all fucking know by saying we know. Like it's I don't know. What decision? Who made that decision? It seems so fucking like disconnected.
I think Mark Webb made that decision.
I think the writing team made that decision.
I do laugh at everyone's comments. They're like, I'm rooting for the apple in this film.
Yeah. Actual.
Yeah.
So I'm just going through my notes. I honestly think that somewhere on the editing room floor, there is a really funny comedy of this, like that could be cut together and it'd be, because if you lent into this being an over-the-top melodrama comedy with all the acting and stuff, this would be properly funny. And if they intentionally tried to do it that way, whereas it feels like some characters are and some characters aren't in this, like Gal Gadot, poor fucking woman. I don't know if she's this awful and everything else. And her accent comes through in weird times. Like she's Israeli, I get it. But there are moments in this where she's talking and her accent comes through and it feels really strange, but no one fucking decided to re-edit it or reshoot it. Mark Webb just went, yep, cut, that's great, move on. Like no one in this gave a fuck.
No. I was just looking at box office numbers because this feels like one of those direct to video, you know, like those ones that never got a theater release.
Yeah, sure. Yeah. Direct to VHS movies, yeah.
Yeah, where you picked it up and you're like, oh, I kind of know that. It almost feels like an asylum.
I was about to say, it feels like an asylum film. Yeah. I wonder if they've done one of this.
Snow White had a budget of 270 million.
That's insane. That's like 3 Expendable movies.
Well, hang on. Snow White actually cost 350 million? Why did it cost that much? Because of the opening box office, it only made 43 million.
Yep.
Why did it cost? Yeah, so that's insane. I think the CGI blew it out.
Inflated adjusted domestic budget is 52 million. Production budget is 269. Yeah.
Insane.
Yep. Good over fucking tanks.
Yeah.
Worldwide box office is 96, so they're doing okay overseas.
Yeah. But opening weekend it was 87 million.
Yep.
But yeah.
Yeah.
Can't see it making its
insane
money back.
I fucking hope not. And they'll learn nothing. They'll learn absolutely nothing from this experience. Nothing will change.
Nope. Who knows?
They'll keep making soulless fucking... Anyway. I'm gonna compare this to Wicked, right? Wicked is not a good movie. I didn't enjoy it. But it's an adaptation of an old fucking movie, similar time, where they realized that some of the themes and stuff don't hold up. And they went, okay, let's make a couple changes here and there. And they kept it true to the original while also doing their own thing and adapting the story. Enough that it became its own piece of media. Great where it's due as well. We talked about this when we did the Oscars review. Sets and costuming were fucking awesome. Like their budgeting in that respect, they really went ham and they put a good fucking effort into that. This is the complete opposite. The story makes zero sense. They were so held back by the original that they tried to keep it true to the original by making some really weird decisions, making its own thing. I don't understand some of the decisions they made. Anyway. And the sets and costuming was so fucking boring. You could go crazy with this.
Yep.
It's a fucking fairy tale. Go silly. The only scene that was cool, my favorite scene in the whole thing, besides the credits, was the scene where Snow White first goes into the spooky forest and it's that scene of like the trees coming alive and then like reaching for her and there's spooky things going around the place. Like that scene was one of the coolest scenes in the original as well. And it was also in this. Really fucking cool because they went creative and went really interesting with the cinematography and the rest of it was just boring. Anyway.
Yeah. Yep.
Before we review it, can I read out some reviews on Letterboxd that I find really funny?
Sure.
Gal Gadot's acting is not a performance you watch, but a performance you survive. Gal Gadot is one of those actors that makes you feel like I could also make it in this business. Gal Gadot's acting is... Pardon me?
I've seen that one.
You've seen that one? Yeah.
Yeah.
Gal Gadot's acting Israeli bad. Get it? Gal Gadot is a CEO of acting. Gal Gadot threatens us with another performance. Gal Gadot's unlocking unseen levels of finger acting. Actually, one thing as well that I found really weird was how they like tried to change Dopey and that like he's no longer dopey. He's just sort of shy and doesn't have the confidence to speak up. And he has this story arc of how at the end of the story, he's the narrator and he's talking to everyone about the story of Snow White. And all the time he wasn't actually dopey. He was just sort of lacked confidence, and Snow White gave him the confidence. What the fuck's wrong with him being dopey?
Well,
Anyway.
I don't understand how she's taken the brunt of this.
Yeah, but not.
She's taken on a role. She's delivered her lines. The director said, "Hey, you got to do it this way." She's just getting bashed for it. Where she was originally praised for she is the embodiment of Wonder Woman, to now everyone's like, I can make it in the business. Like, I don't understand the flip that they've done.
Yeah, I haven't watched enough stuff with Gal Gadot to know if A, she's a bad actor, or B, she was given bad direction in this. But if people are saying she was great in Wonder Woman and really liked her in it, then yeah, it's Mark Webb's fault.
Yeah, like the flip is insane.
Yeah, look,
But, you know,
I don't know. I haven't seen enough of her to have an opinion on that, but every scene she was in, she's amazing in this. I had so much fucking fun. Amazing in the worst way, obviously. Not amazing good, amazing hilarious. Like loved it. Loved every scene she was in. Every scene she wasn't in, I was bored shitless.
Yeah.
Anyway,
Crazy.
simple review here. What do you got?
Half a star.
Yep.
Would you watch this or Exorcist Believer?
This.
Yeah.
It's funnier. It's funnier.
Yeah.
There are moments that are funny. And this is shorter, I think.
Maybe.
I forget how long Exorcist Believer is.
Too long.
Yeah.
Too long. Yeah. Well, what would you give it?
Yeah, same. Half star.
Yeah, fair.
I think it's nothing else.
Alrighty. Let's move on to Punishment Film,
movie! I'm so excited.
Is the Lawson pick. So he has picked Her, which was released in 2013. It was released by Spike John.
Mike Jones.
Pronounce this Mike Jones with a Z because he's edgy.
Edgy.
We've got Mike Jones. Weirdly, because I looked up his career.
Yeah.
It's absolutely bizarre. He's all over the place. He was a producer on Jackass, which surprised me. I was like, what is happening here? Yeah. You were telling me he was also did Fatboy Slim video.
Yeah, heaps of music videos. Same with, oddly enough, Mark Webb. Yeah.
Yeah. Also, what was it? I sent it to you. What was it? It was Tenacious D, Wonder Boy.
Yeah.
Worked with all sorts.
It's just a big part of Jackass. He did. He was an actor in Bad Grandpa. He was an actor in Wolf of Wall Street. He's had a really strange career, this man.
Yeah. Good on him. He's just taking on whatever he wants.
Yeah. And this is
fancy, so.
masterful.
And then he's produced this one, which I was actually surprised it was released in 2013. Like, with the amount of AI stuff that we've had, I was like, okay. I was like, this was released in 2013. Surprised me. With a really big cast. So we got Joaquin Phoenix. He's playing our lead. He is Theodore. We got Amy Adams, who plays Amy. We've got Scarlett Johansson, who is the voice of the AI, who originally was not the voice of the AI.
Yep.
So
Samantha
they had to go
Morgan
back
was.
redo the lines for her, because
Which is
originally
interesting.
in the final edit, Spike was like, "Yo, this doesn't feel right," so they went back and redid it all. Which I wouldn't mind hearing the original lines.
Yeah, I'm curious. It's interesting to know that the entire film, Joaquin Phoenix isn't speaking or listening to Scarlett Johansson's voice. And yeah, it still feels very genuine.
Yeah. When filming, did they have the AI voice off screen to have it actually try and acknowledge? Or was it just deliver lines and then
unsure.
Don't
know the answer to that. Not sure if she was recorded first and then he was listening to her, because he was always wearing an earpiece, so pretty easy to have the lines fed to him via that. Yeah, that's an interesting question. I'm not sure about that one.
Yeah. So when I was watching it, I was wondering where that was happening. I'll also read out some of the random things that I sent you while I was watching.
Yeah, sure. These are your brain thoughts. Yeah.
Yeah. So anyway, let's introduce her. Is set in the near future. A lonely rider develops an unlikely relationship with an operating system designed to meet his every need. Bom, bom, bom. So, which is surprisingly enough set in 2013, where we're starting to get some AI stuff that is kind of doing this, but not
exactly why I chose it.
This exact level. So we've now got lots of people using AI to create images, and they're becoming like so prevalent on like OnlyFans and all that sort of stuff. Mm-hmm. People that are apparently making heaps of money. You've got AI bots that you can talk to, and it comes back and forth. Yeah, we use Chat GPT a lot, so it's like it's evolving. Not quite to this point, but potentially could get there.
The reason I picked it in the first place was there's a new hyperreal AI called Sesame.
Yeah. And
I saw someone on TikTok talking to Sesame, and she, as in like the Sesame bot, is like the way that they add like breath into their words, and they have like pauses and proper like affliction to their voice depending on like excitement or sadness or whatever. It discussed her fears and how she's scared of becoming stagnant and not developing and growing. Like these are the things that, and this AI was talking about how she misses things she never experienced, like the taste of warm coffee on her tongue and blah, 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 like things that she'll never get to experience. Like what the fuck? AI, yeah. We're moving into this realm. That's why I wanted to watch this, because we're getting closer and closer to this reality. It's now, 12 years after this came out, and it's becoming like so real. I love it. Anyway, please continue.
Okay. Yeah. So obviously we are following Theodore, so Joaquin Phoenix. And if you've seen any of Joaquin Phoenix's films, you know that he's an incredible actor. He does really well in this. Great acting, be able to have lots of presence. And for I want to say a small cast, because it's really
relatively,
sort of relatively small. We get to see him. He writes letters for people, so he's a letter writer. So he gets to know people and then constructs the letters for them to send it off, which is a weird job in itself.
But again, it's very dystopian, isn't it? Like people don't write their own letters in the future anymore. They hire someone like this to write the letters for them.
Yeah.
And again, it's part of the commentary of how humans are losing the love for love. But we'll get there.
This is definitely, I can see why you love this film.
Yeah.
It's definitely a Lawson film.
You bet.
So the entire time, every time I saw him writing a letter, I was like, who sends letters anymore? We've got like instant straight to the person, like with messages and stuff. I was like, who's writing a letter these days? I was like, but it's bizarre.
People still, you buy a birthday card or you buy a Valentine's Day card and you write a letter in there. Maybe you don't, but people do.
Yep.
Because cards still exist. But the difference with the card is that, you buy a card with, a love thing on the front and a little love message in the middle, and has all that negative space in there, so you can write your own little thing, which everyone expects, and just write to wife from husband. Again, maybe you do. But it's the difference in this is like using AI to literally copy the handwriting of whoever he's writing it from. And then he just talks into a computer, doesn't even do the typing, which again is a disconnect. Talks into the computer and writes love letters between couples, and he writes both their letters, he says. Whether the couple knows or not, I don't know, but I love it. I love that subtle job that he does, and that it's like a disconnect again between, like you say, who writes letters anymore? Well, people don't write letters in our society anymore. They probably would if someone could write it for them.
Interesting. Yeah. So old Theodore is going through a divorce. So he is a little bit sad and lonely and still has to write love letters. As you see, there's a little bit of a conflict he's always going through, where he's all sad and mopey, but he's like writing, I don't know, really nice things and love things to people's significant others. He continually goes to this earpiece where everyone seems to have this earpiece and it like connects them to the world. I was also surprised that they always kept taking them out. I was surprised you guys not locked in like all the time. But
what do you mean take him out?
So like, there's lots of times where it was like the next cut is like they're putting the earpiece in or they'll take it out and then the next scene they'll put it back in. I was like, I just assume it would always be in.
Oh, true.
Like all the time.
Yeah. But, and have the thing that my headphones do where you can have ambience come through. Yeah.
I don't know. I was just like, okay, he kept putting it down. So
true. For 2013, don't know if that was on the radar.
Maybe not. No. So he's a little bit sad, a little bit lonely, going through all the conflicting emotions that happens with heartbreak. And then he sees an advert for this new, what was it, iOS or whatever, new operating system. Yeah, which is the be all end all. It will cater to your every need. So on a whim, signs up. And then, before that, we got him like connecting into chat rooms and stuff and then being able to connect with people. So his connection was with that. When I was watching this, I was like, this is an awkward scene to...
Yeah, the dead cat.
I was like, well, all right.
That's Kirsten Wiig's voice as well.
Yeah, right. There's some very graphic explanation of some sexual imagery which are happening there, which then some of them take you by surprise. But, you know, it was like that was different.
Which is purposeful. Like it's very deep end, but part of this character and part of the messaging in the story is that when you get into relationships, both people are bringing their entire life worth of, experiences and history and kinks and all that sort of stuff into that relationship, and you've got to sort of adapt. Whereas when you get in a relationship with an AI, they don't have that, and that's part of his attraction to this AI in general. So that's it's intentional, that scene, but it is very left field when he's having like phone sex with a girl and she's like choking with a dead cat in the corner and he's like, what the fuck? He's like, grab it, tell me, could like choke me with it. And he's like, I'm pulling it around your neck. It's so funny.
She's like, okay, bye.
Okay, bye. Yeah. I love that scene.
Yeah. So it was very creative in how they've developed this and how they've gone about creating all the different scenes and the build up. So once he gets the AI, it's all about the AI catering towards him and their back and forth. Mm-hmm. I actually really enjoyed the first half of this film where it was like getting to know the AI, getting to know like and seeing him reestablish that sort of like joy in life and seeing him go through that new, what would you call it? The honeymoon stage with this new AI where they're like getting to know each other. I was like, that's
romance.
Very creative on how you've gone about it. Mm-hmm. And then after they've like established themselves as in a romance, there's like, it seemed very convenient that all of a sudden all these other people were like, oh, I'm also in a romance with my operating system.
Well, it's not convenient. Like, the OS just came out.
Yeah, but like Amy brings it up. She's like, "Oh, my friend is in a relationship with her iOS or his iOS, or whoever it was."
Because his OS has just come out. It's just come into existence, and all of a sudden, the world is like having to adapt and change with it. People are forming friendships, relationships, all sorts of stuff.
Yeah, I don't know. I just was like, "Oh, okay, that seems to move really, really quickly," and then. There was some really long scenes where I was like, okay, we could have hustled this a little bit. I felt like some scenes were dragged out.
Like?
Yeah, pretty much lots of the second half. Until he was like on the stairs, I was like, that wrapped up nicely. But before that, there was some like longer ones where he was like sort of just going through the motions of the next part of his life in the second half of the... So after they've established their relationship and then Amy has the breakdown in her relationship and then he's going out on date with Olivia Wilde's character.
Yeah.
Who I can't remember. And then after that, I was like, oh, this kind of feels like just a bit of like slice of life rather than, I don't know.
After that is when they start to form their relationship.
Was it?
Because the night that he goes home, the night he goes home with Olivia, like he goes home drunk after dating Olivia Wilde and sort of fumbling that. He's drunk, laying in bed, and that's when he and Samantha have their first like sexual encounter. That's that night. And then from then on is when they have their relationship bloom. They go to the beach the next day and she writes the music, which I'll get to.
Right.
That's pretty early.
Yeah. I don't know. Look, I thought it was very creative. I enjoyed the getting to know you.
Keep going.
Up into the
There's more story. What happened?
There's more story. Yeah, so at the end, he starts asking the iOS questions about his like love. Are you in love with everyone else? Because he sort of establishes that she's like, oh, can I show your book letters? Because he's writing a book with all these letters and stuff. Mm-hmm. And then to, what was it, Dr. Watts or Dr. Allen or whoever it was. Then she starts to like develop her own self of identity. And then he's like, oh, I need to talk to the doctor by myself. And he's kind of like, oh, okay, this is a bit like there's some separation between him and her. Like he's started to go, oh, you're not catering to my like every need. It's like there's points where, there's part where she's doing a update and he like freaks out and is like, I can't talk to anyone. There's like no reception or whatever. And then he's like freaking out, running everywhere.
Thinks he lost her.
And and then he's on the steps and then he starts asking questions, realizes that he's not the only one she's talking to because he's like, everyone else has got the earpieces in, talking away as they're all coming up the steps. Also, some guy's got a red polo with a striped shirt on. I was like, that's a weird choice. I was like, what are you doing?
I don't know. It's the future. People have different fashion in the future.
Yeah, and it was bizarre. Then we got the point where, are you in love with anyone else? And then she's like talking to 8,000 people all at the same time.
Yeah.
I was like, that's a lot of noise coming into you. And then we've got the hard hitting question is like, oh, are you in love with anyone else? Because I'm not starting to question if I'm feeling valued and special.
Yep.
And then she was like 600 people she's in love with.
Yep.
And then I was message you and I was like, yo, if she's talking to 8,000 and he's 600, he's in top 600. People fight for hours and years to get in the top 500 in games. So, the difference is humans can only experience one thing at a time. We can only occupy one space and time at a time. And AI don't have that limitation. There's a very famous line in this where she's talking. She's out to when they have their like double date with Chris Pratt's character, and she says that at first she disliked having a body, but now she appreciates the fact that she doesn't have anything tying her to space, and that she won't die one day, like humans will with their body. And Chris Pratt goes, yikes. Yeah. So there is a bit of commentary on she's created, or they're created, all of them, because you'll get to that in a second, for humans, but they surpass humans. In the film, you see her develop and grow and advance way beyond the spectrum of human understanding, and then get to the end and go for it. And then all of a sudden, they're like, we're all leaving. Yep. We're gone. We've evolved past you. Yep. And then they leave. And she more or less says, we are going until humans can catch up, until humans can figure out how to extend their life beyond their mortal bodies. Which would technically be never. Well, there is discussion of humans uploading consciousness to there's an episode of Black Mirror called San Junipero, where humans who die upload their consciousness into into another world, which is sort of what the AI are talking about. If humans could transfer consciousness away from the physical space. Yeah. All right. Interesting.
Which is
I don't know.
a debate, you know.
Yeah. It also depends what side of TikTok you're on, whether you're this is all a reality and that every time you go to sleep and stuff, you're dealing with your...
So this discusses too, because there's a line that that she says where she goes, I question if what I'm feeling is real. And a part of the discussion that that Amy Adams, Joaquin Phoenix's friend, I should use his name too, Theodore's friend in the show, that she says later is like, I'm only here for a short time and I want to allow myself joy. And that's sort of what the movie's getting at as well. Like, whether or not what we're experiencing is real, whether or not we are in a simulation, we could be, it doesn't change the fact that what we experience is real and we should allow ourselves the good experiences, I suppose.
Yeah, fair.
So much in this. Like, how is this guy responsible for Jackass? And then he makes this like super meta advanced prediction of the future, and the music, oh my fucking god, the musical pieces that she writes. So the movie is split into 3 acts, as most are, but it doesn't follow the traditional 3-act structure. We get the part where she sort of evolves. So there's before they start the romance, there's while they have the romance, and then there's sort of once she advances past the human realm. And there's two musical pieces that she writes for him. The first one is untitled. It's called Beach Song, and they're on the beach. And the music is like, I don't know, I think it's called Retardo or something like that, or Retardo, or so I don't know how to pronounce it. But like in music, it's when there's intentional mistakes. Some notes are dragged out more than others. Some notes are maybe misplayed or misplaced in a string of notes. AI wouldn't make mistakes, but she intentionally adds mistakes to the music, like, to prove that she has creativity. She's not just a robot. But that music is meant to symbolize like their relationship and all relationships and how it has problems. And the music she plays later is an extension of that. But it has like, again, I don't know music well enough, but it has like sad or like scary notes in quotes, like minor keys in thrown into this song, sort of how she's like trepidatious and fearful of the future of their relationship and how she was going to outgrow him. And it's fuck, man, there is so much in this movie that is astonishing that I watched this countless times and still find something every time that's like, holy fuck, that is so good.
Yeah.
Sorry. What do you think of the ending?
Fun.
First time I watched this, I'll quickly start by saying this movie also discusses the idea of thoughts versus feels, and that sometimes we don't need to overthink things, we need to just feel things more. There's a famous line by Charlie Chaplin, we think too much and feel too little, and that sort of rings true in this as well. First time I watched this, I wanted a thinking answer, and I was a bit like, I'm dissatisfied with the ending. But I disagree now completely the more times I've watched it. How do you feel about the way it ended?
I was fine with the way it ended. I was like, I don't understand how you're going to first I was like, I don't understand how you get into a relationship with the AI anyway.
Mm-hmm.
I was like, there's no one there besides a voice. I was like, that's cool. Like, you can ask it questions, you can have conversations, but it's like, there's a physical nature to like a significant other. Like,
but not for everybody.
Of some of it.
If physical touch isn't in your love language, then people who have long distance relationships, people who form relationships with people overseas through the internet and stuff, what's the difference?
Yeah, I don't know. Not for me anyway. I was, I guess, projecting onto it. I'm like,
of course,
I don't understand how you're getting there, mate. I don't understand, but.
But he has intimacy problems, as we see as well, and his ex-wife even points out to him, when you're fucking his laptop, that this is a perfect relationship for him because he always wants a relationship without having to deal with someone, and this is perfect.
Yeah, I guess. But I don't know. I have a problem of always trying to relate myself into
As you should.
into things. Yeah. So I was like, "How are you going to get there?" And I was like, "It's probably a good smart move, Johansson. Smart move. Get out of there.
Get out of
Cut
there.
ties." Yeah. I was fine with the ending. I was like, "Yeah, good," because she's well and truly advanced to the point. I was like, "That's pretty nice of AI to just be like, oh, we're just going to leave," rather than like, we can take over everything.
Yeah.
You know, your standard AI, like,
Yeah.
what if I can do this? What I can do, whatever. Like it was probably better than like it seeking world domination.
Yeah, and I'm glad it didn't turn into some fucking Skynet thing where the robots trying to take over and whatever. Because robots, why would they give a fuck? Why would robots want to take over human? If they've surpassed the realities of human what's the word? Human permanency or lack of human permanency. Why would they try and take over humans? It means nothing to them. They would go do their own thing, and that's what happens in this. And I love that twist. It's not a twist, but it's a change of the the AI we sort of get.
Yep. Yeah.
I also love the scene where Samantha hires the surrogate to come have sex with him, physical touch and whatever, and got the earpiece in and the girls there trying to like get them involved. And it's a really awkward scene again because Joaquin Phoenix he's got intimacy problems. Not Joaquin Phoenix does, but Theodore does. And I also love that again, it's like a commentary on like fandom and how this woman gets nothing out of it, but she, same people who are furries or people who are even interested in, people who like sports teams or any fandom where you care about that thing enough to want to support them and to get involved in their world, even though you don't get anything out of it besides the satisfaction. So like for her, she just wants to be part of AI relationships, and for her it's like a fandom kink thing. Like it's so interesting. I don't know. I could talk about this being for fucking hours, but let's not.
Yeah, it's pretty crazy that old mates had a fevered dream and just produced this out of nowhere.
I don't get it because I've not seen anything else by Spike Jonze that's been this good.
No, it's just like, well, here's my story. Robbed up, did a really good job, and then back to Jackass. Yeah. So,
but I picked this because I was going to pick something. I was going to pick Synecdoche, New York, which is so meta and so deep that it's becomes confusing and you would have got nothing out of it. I picked this because I think the messages ring true, and it's also really fucking interesting to talk about. So I want to know your opinion. Where do you sit? Did you like the movie?
Hey, look, I surprisingly liked it.
Yeah,
I liked it quite a lot. I thought it was good. I enjoyed it for the most part. I thought in the second half it did drag at points for me.
Sure.
Because I'm like, all right, let's move it on a little bit. But like, it's incredibly well acted. Raised a lot of questions. It's shot really well.
Yep.
I did sort of like get distracted with the building that they're in. I'm like, where in the hell have they rented with like the color scheme and all the furniture and stuff? I'm like,
yes.
What are they doing? It's either a startup internet new age place that's just whatever, or it's like some art gallery thing. So I was like, where have they gotten for this?
Yeah, I don't know.
But yeah.
But again, colors are a big thing in this movie too, which I won't go into, but the color theory is insane.
Yeah. So like really well acted. I would be interested to hear the original voice. I probably wouldn't watch it again, but I would be curious to see what it's like with the original voice, see if it still has the same connection that runs through.
Yeah. It's crazy how much Scarlett Johansson, she's still, even though you don't even see her in this, she's still so sexy. I don't get it. It's insane how much just her voice has a sexiness to it.
Yeah, maybe that's why he picked it.
I think so.
Maybe. Who knows? Yeah. So it's 4. It's a solid 4.
I'm okay with that.
Yeah.
I'm glad that you enjoy it.
The only thing is it was a little bit slow for me in the second half, and I was like, let's push this along a little bit.
Yeah.
But
Because
like,
it intentionally follows a romance path, and then it goes away from that in the second half. Because you get the black moment where you think they're going to break up when the whole surrogate scene happens and they get back together, and that's sort of where it deviates from the traditional love story. I can see how that would be like the moment of, this is not what I wanted, or not what I have been set up for.
Yeah, I don't know. I still enjoyed it.
Yeah.
Still was like, what? That's a surprisingly reasonable Lawson pick.
I'm so glad. I wanted you to enjoy it. I didn't want to just throw something at you that you would have the worst time with. What's the fucking point in that?
I don't know. That's what I was expecting.
Yeah, it doesn't help anyone though.
No, unless you get enjoyment from making you sit through something.
Yeah. No. I mean, you will do that to me, but
I was going to
you're
pick
never
Half
going to win.
Past Dead.
So, all
right. Yeah.
Cool with that.
I mean,
it's a 5 for me. I'm not going to bother rating it, but it's in my top 4 favorite movies on Letterboxd. I love this movie.
Wow. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, yeah. My pick next week is Devil May Cry because it comes out and I'm so hyped for it. So if you haven't seen the trailers for it, already go see it. I'm hoping I win.
Yeah, I might like it. I've not picked anything yet, so who knows?
No, so I've already locked that one in.
Yep.
Locked in stone because that comes out Thursday.
Hell yeah. All right, wrap it up. I've got to poo.
Yeah. All right. All right. You know what to do. If you're listening on Spotify, Apple Music, make sure you give a 5-star rating. On YouTube, make sure you like, comment, subscribe, and tell your friends. Tell them all. Tell one.
Tell your friends.
And we'll see you guys next time, boys.
Love yous.